Okay, as you are doing this homework assignment, it is so important that you read the directions. For instance, given the following information, determine which lines, if any, are parallel. State the postulate or theorem that justifies your answers. So, commonly from the students, I just see that you state the postulate or theorems, but you're forgetting to determine which lines are parallel. So let's go ahead and take a look at this figure right here. So angle 1 is congruent to angle 3, okay? So I can see that 1 is here, 3 is right here, and 1 is part of this line, and it's also this line here, right? But the only thing that I want to look at is the non-transversal. So 1 and 3 definitely share this transversal. However, 1 is part of this line, 3 is part of that line. So I'm going to go ahead and just replicate that. So I have, wait, I drew this wrong. What am I doing? It's this, my bad. Okay, so I have J and K, and then I have line L. And then 1 is there, 3 is there, and from the beginning, we can see that these angles are congruent. So these angles are congruent, and did I screw this up? No, I didn't. Okay, so comparing this region to this region here, that's my transversal, by the way. Comparing this region to this region right here, they are corresponding, and they are congruent. So what do you say about these two lines here? Well, these lines, I say that J is parallel to K by it's the corresponding angles converse, okay? And it's so important that you understand that the converse theorems, they prove lines parallel. So important that you understand that. When you're proving lines parallel, you are using the converse theorems. In this case, for number 1, you are saying J is parallel to K by the corresponding angles converse, okay? And then find X so that M is parallel to N. This is number 5. Okay, so I have these two lines cut by a transversal. You're going to find X, and once you plug them in, and you see that these angles are congruent, and then they are, well, in this case, they are alternate exterior angles, then M is parallel to N. But the only thing that you really need to do for number 5 is just solve for X. So since these are corresponding angles, or not corresponding angles, they are alternate exterior angles, well, you set them equal to each other. So you do 4x minus 23 is equal to 2x plus 17. So 2x is equal to 40. All right, let me see. Yep. So x is equal to 20. That's your answer. All right. So let's go ahead and do this one. Given the following information, determine which lines, if any, are parallel, and state the postulate theorem that justifies your answer. I'm going to go ahead and do, let's do 8 and 14 together. So, 1 is congruent to 2. 1, 2, they share this transversal, right? So that's the transversal, and here's line R, here's line S. So R, S, 1 is part of R, 2 is part of S. So then, here's 1, here's 2, comparing this to this. This is my transversal. I can't say that they are same side interior angles because angle 2 is the only interior angle and 1 is outside, so that's an exterior angle. But I notice that these are corresponding, right? They are relative to each other, so 1 and 2 are congruent. So yeah, 1 and 2 is congruent because that's already stated from the beginning. So congruent. So you say that R parallel to S by the corresponding angles converse, right? Converse theorems, they prove lines parallel. So important. And then 3 and 7, this one's a little tricky. I want to go ahead and tell you that 3 is congruent to 7, but 7 in particular, this one's really hard to determine. 7 is part of this transversal, and also, well, 7 is part of 3 lines. So here, and here. And I'm just going to automatically tell you, like, that's just all I wanted to tell you, that you can't prove this. So cannot prove lines parallel. You cannot prove the lines are parallel. Okay. And then this one, I think these are very, very simple. Let's just go ahead and do one of them. But it's so important that you understand that you're solving for x, right? And you're identifying the postulate or theorem that you use. So these angles are alternate and they're both in the exterior. So then let's assume that they are congruent, right? They're alternate exterior angles. So 3x minus 14, okay, they're congruent to each other. You got to put an equal sign. It's 2x plus 25. Solve for x, you get x equals 39, right? So x is equal to 39. Once I plug them in to x, they should be congruent. And if they're congruent, then m is parallel to n, okay? And what did we do? Which theorem did we use to figure this out? We say the alternate, or which theorem do we use to show that m is parallel to n? We say that alternate exterior angles converse, okay? So that's how you are supposed to do these problems.